Oh, hi. Whew. Hey, my name is Kristian. I go by Woodbeard around here, and I make things out of wood, or at least I attempt to. If you're new to this channel, welcome. It's nice to meet you. If you've been a subscriber for a while, but due to the spotty nature of my posting, have kind of forgotten about it, that's cool. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. It is currently fall as I film this in 2025. And this past summer, I had an entire month of vacation from my day job as a web developer. I spent a lot of that time trying to figure out what I wanted my future to look like. Big picture stuff. I spent every day waking up just thinking, what's going to make me happy that day? And I found that for the most part, it was woodworking. A lot of it was getting down here. This is my basement studio. And just mucking around, trying to come up with stuff and just having fun. I was making things that I wanted to make with my hands in real life. And it was the best. So I've been around here on YouTube for a little bit, posting once in a while, but nothing close to any sort of consistency. So I think it's time to change that. And I want to focus on this channel more going forward, be more consistent with it and deliberate. I thought I'd get you all up to speed on my story so far and use this as a reintroduction of sorts, or an introduction if you've never been here. So I've also got some updates later on in this video about the future of this channel. So if you already know my story, or you don't, but you don't really care to listen to it, that's cool. I don't take offense. You can skip ahead to the chapter listed on the screen, like here, or it might be up there. I don't know how this stuff works yet, figuring it out. So for the rest of you who want to stick around, thank you. Here's my story so far. Okay, so briefly, I've been a web developer for over 20 years. I started developing websites in the late 1990s. That's last century. Yeah, I'm old, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, it was back in the days when each house had a computer room where the computer lived. So the computer, no one had phones in their pockets. There was one phone, typically two. You had dial-up internet. There was no social media, which was actually kind of nice. And yeah, I just got interested in how websites are created. So I would view the source of the sites and just teach myself what the code's doing. So that's how I got started. Went to school for it. Long story short, worked my way through various agencies. But about 10 years ago, something started to eat at me. And it was the realization that I spend 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, busting my ass at my job, but I really have nothing to show for it at the end of the day. I had nothing I could hold in my hand or put on the shelf and look at as an example of the work I had done. And at the time, my then girlfriend, who's now my wife, was an incredible fashion designer who was making these beautiful works of art out of clothing. She is still a phenomenal artist, and she's making even more beautiful stuff today. Her links are in the description. Please go check her out. I had a lot of friends who were artists, and we were surrounded by the artistic community. And it made me want to pursue something that was a little more tactile, a little more real life. I wanted to make something in real life, as I always said. I didn't know what I wanted to make. That was my biggest hurdle. But I was lucky enough that Christmas, about 10 years ago, we do a gift exchange with my family. And my big sister Jessica had my name. And she bought me the thing that would change kind of the course of everything. She bought me this book. For those of you that don't know, this is Paddle Your Own Canoe by Nick Offerman. This serves as kind of a biography of his, but also he talks a lot about his love of making things out of wood. Now, all I knew at the time was This is the guy playing Ron Swanson on Parks and Recreation. I didn't know anything about him at the time. I just thought, I love that show. This book would be pretty good. By the end of this book, I thought, Ron Swanson, who? Nick Offerman is the man. He made it very clear that he's so passionate about getting people to make things with their hands. And that was exactly what I was looking for. With the inspiration from this book and the people around me, I knew I had to try making something with my hands, but I still didn't know what. So I decided to start with the topic that he discussed in this book, which is woodworking. So to be clear, I did not start woodworking because Nick Offerman is a woodworker. I tried woodworking honestly thinking, this is the first thing I'll try because he talked about it so lovingly. I'll give it a shot. If I suck at it, I'll try something else. It just so happened that I loved it. I figured I'd start small in case I was no good at it or I hated it. So I went out and I bought this little whittling kit from Lee Valley Tools in Toronto. So it's a single handle that you put different blades in for different types of cuts. And I talked to the guys at Lee Valley, told them I had no idea what I was doing, but I wanted to give it a try. They said this was a good beginner's kit, and they recommended basswood. Basswood is very soft. It's really easy for beginners or anyone to carve. With that, I got started. I'm not bullshitting you when I say the first cut I made with that carving set into basswood felt like magic to me. It was like, how is this possible? And how have I not discovered this before? Something so simple as just rounding the corner of the chunk of basswood just lit me up. It was so cool. I have this box where I kept some of the initial shavings. I don't know why, I just thought it was cool. So these are some shavings, and I have the very first thing that I carved. This was 2 weeks after Christmas, January 7th, 2015. I made this. It doesn't look like much. It's a ring holder, so you can just sit it on your nightstand, pop your ring on there. But I took a rectangle and made it rounded, and that's it. That's all it took to get me hooked. I started carving anything I could think of. My wife had these wooden bunnies, so I made her my own version out of basswood. It's not pretty, but I made it. I was hooked immediately, and doing some research for this video, I went back to look at my social media, and I'm surprised how quickly I started making things. I absorbed every YouTube video I could find. I studied hand tools out of necessity and preference because we lived at the time in a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Toronto, which was smaller than this basement that I'm currently in. So I couldn't make much of a mess, and I certainly couldn't make much noise. So hand tools were the way to go. Another part of me wanted to go that route because I wanted to know the effort it took to create things with hand tools, with just your hands and some tools. No power, no jigs, no nothing. I wanted to learn the effort that it took to put all those things together before I started graduating up. And I'm really glad I did. I think it's given me a lot of patience for the process, because some of it can be pretty slow, but also an appreciation for it. So I wanted to know how much of an effort it took to create these things with just your hands and some hand tools. Once I felt comfortable enough with hand tools, I slowly started introducing power tools when needed. I bought a Dremel. That was the first thing I bought, which is a rotary tool. I used it for sanding and for drilling. So that was my first drill and my first sander. I bought a jigsaw and other power hand tools after that, before I graduated up to a table saw, which I had that on the balcony of our apartment, which had to piss off the neighbors. It was very loud and chucked dust way over the side. But we do what we gotta do, right? Now I have this house in Hamilton that I live at with this whole basement where I can make a mess. And I'm still only adding power tools as needed. Last thing I got was a planer, which is just sitting over here. It's been great. I started out making things for my wife, just around the house. and little things. The first thing I remember making specifically for her was a book holder that you wear on your thumb to prop the book open. Here's a photo of the very first one I made. That was made by hammering it all through basswood and then using files and sandpaper to make the hole bigger to the point where it could fit over someone's thumb. And then I just used the carving knives and sandpaper to create the contours. The contours, that thing's not very contoured. But that was the first thing I made. And now I've got several others. This was a big seller of mine. Demo time. So if you're reading a book and you want one hand free, I just hold your book open. I got this hand to do whatever I want. The whole idea came about because my wife wanted to be able to read a book and eat a sandwich at the same time. Yeah, my wife's awesome. So that's how that came about. I called it the Holden because it's holding your book open. Do you get it? Do you get it? You get it? You get it, right? Holden. I'm an idiot. So after I made that first one, a coworker saw it online and asked me if I could make one for his wife as a gift. And this was the first time someone outside of my close friends or family had asked me to make something. I was very excited. So I made the one I'll show you here on the screen now. That was made out of oak. It was not pretty, but I was incredibly thankful that he had reached out and asked me to make something for him. I never had that feeling where someone was just like, I saw a thing you make and I would like one too. I was like, that's pretty cool. So I made that one for him, and then other people saw them. I refined the shape a little bit. I had a few more people ask for it, and then I'd post it online, and it just kind of led to like another custom order for something. Someone else asked me if I could make something, and I never said no to anything. Someone asked me once if I could make a block of wood that goes over a wine bottle but holds the wine glasses. Hard to explain. Here's a photo. That's what I made. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to make that, but someone was asking me now if I could make something in real life for them. I was like, yeah, of course I'm gonna give that a shot. Still to this day, to think that there's anyone out there who wants anything that I make, and knowing that there are things that I've made that are in people's homes that they carry around with them, that are part of their everyday lives, that's unreal. That's still so cool to me. In a full circle moment, a few years ago, I got to actually meet Nick Offerman. He was doing a comedy tour and was playing at a casino in Windsor, Ontario, which is about 3 hours. But I did meet him. I got him to sign the book that changed my life. And I got to thank him for it. And I got to give him 2 of the Holdens I make, one for him and one for his wife, Megan. And that was very cool. I don't think I'll ever tell this story about our conversation or how I got to meet him, because I like keeping that just for me. But I will say, when people tell you don't meet your heroes, that doesn't count if one of your heroes is Nick Offerman. He's pretty rad. So the name Woodbeard, it's not that complicated. I was working one day in our old dining room in the apartment, sanding away. I went to the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror, and my beard was just coated in sawdust. And I was like, ha, I have a Woodbeard. I am Woodbeard. That's it. That's how it happened. The logo is very simple. It's a W, but if you rotate it, it's also a B. It's not that clever, but I just thought it was kind of a neat touch. And it kind of looks like a piece of a tree if you do it on the side, like that. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe? Yeah, kind of. Let's say it is. Let's say that's part of it too. So what kind of things do I make? You might be wondering. I still make Holdens once in a while. I've made a lot of these. I've sold quite a number of them. but I get bored easily and I want to try different things. So I haven't made these in a while, but I've got 4 left if anybody wants one. Drop me a message below. I don't know how to classify what I make, because I don't make furniture, but I have made furniture. I don't make cutting boards, but I have made cutting boards. I don't make small little knickknacks, but I have made small little knickknacks. I just like making things out of wood. Recently, a pizza place here in Hamilton, Ontario asked me if I can make them a pizza peel, which is the big paddle that you put the pizza in. And that just combined 2 of my favorite things in the world, pizza and wood. So of course I was like, yes. And I had a blast making that. Now it's the only one I've ever made. Am I gonna start being a pizza peel maker? I don't know. I wanna make one for myself now, and I have a couple friends that I've got in mind that I wanna make for, but I don't know. I've made floating wine bottle holders, which defy gravity. They've been fun to make. It kind of breaks people's brains a little bit when you see them in action. I've made wooden bottle openers with little magnets that catch the bottle caps. I've made, here. I make these bottle stoppers, some cork, and this wood is actually the wood from a wine barrel. So I thought that was clever. Last year I started making my own wood finish, cleverly titled Woodbeard finish. This is a mix of mineral oils and beeswax. Lots of people make this, now I do too. It's non-toxic, it's food safe. It's great on everything. I had built a record console for our home. I've made this plywood TV stand also for our home. Serving side trays for me and my family and friends. I've recently started making things with my buddy Baymud, aka Paul. Go check out his channel, also linked in the description. He's an amazing musician, and we have started collaborating on things. I made some wooden cheeks for one of his synths, which are apparently very popular in the industry, which is cool. So we'll probably make more of those. I'm starting to make my own wooden guitar picks. I'm just experimenting with that now, so maybe that'll show up on the channel soon. We made a wooden platform for Baymud's synth setup. That was actually made out of this. This is old lath from his home when he moved in here in Hamilton. They did a bunch of renovations and pulled out a bunch of lath, and he asked if I'd be interested in using some of it for something. So he brought me a shit ton of this, and we have been experimenting with what we can do with this. So maybe you'll see more of that in the near future. All that to really say, I don't know what kind of woodworker I am. I'm just a woodworker who likes making things. Haven't found a niche yet, but I'm just enjoying the process. So this is the part where I tell you what you can look forward to on the channel going forward. I'm still doing web dev during the day. So this is my evenings and weekends gig still. But I'm really trying to lean into this part of it more. I'm not a fan of making the same thing over and over, and I have no idea what the next thing is that I make, but I do know some things. I want to make products that are sustainable. No fast furniture here. I don't want something that will break in a couple years and require someone to buy it again. If you buy something from me, I want it to last a long time. I want you to be able to pass it down to your kids. Maybe they pass it down to their kids, and maybe their kids are like, who the hell is Woodbeard? And by that point, no one will remember. But that thing will still exist that I did, which is pretty cool. I want to continue to use reclaimed materials as often as possible. So where I live, there's an antique mall down the road, and they have some booths there with some amazing reclaimed material, whether it's old barn board, chunks of walnut, cherry, cedar. I've used them for so many things, and I have so many of their materials here in the house. So I want to continue to use reclaimed materials as much as possible and only go to the big box stores when needed. I want to continue to promote making things with your hands, because that's how I got started. And if I can help get someone else started or even interested, then bonus. That's amazing. I also want to show that you can do all this in your spare time, but also I want to prove it to myself. I've not been the greatest at finishing the workday eating dinner and then coming back down here. Sometimes my day job can be draining, and there are definitely stretches where I don't even come down here. Case in point, I haven't been down here in about a week because it's just been tiring. It's been long days at work, and my weekends are just resting and recuperating. But every time I come down here, it energizes me, and so I want to prove it to you and to myself that this is a worthy investment of my time and your time. I want to show why handmade things are so important, and why they cost more than IKEA, and why they should cost more than IKEA, and why you should value them more than these big box stores. I don't mean to keep shitting on IKEA. I own IKEA furniture. I get it. It's fast, it's easy, it's great, but it's well worth investing a little bit more in something that's unique, that's going to mean something to someone, that was created with someone's hands, and that'll last you an awful lot longer than anything you buy in these big box stores. I believe that, and it's my mission to prove it here on this channel. And I want to document all of this here for you to see. I am not a professional. I don't know what I'm doing part of the time. I'm a dipshit who just really loves what I do. I just want to share that with you in the hopes that maybe you like what you see and you want to support me, or even better, you like what you see and you want to start making things too, or going out and supporting local makers. I've had this channel for years, to be honest, and I've been sporadically posting things as I think of them or feel like it. And I'm trying to be more consistent with it and more deliberate. So I'm going to post the wins, the losses, the things I learned, the things I screwed up, because that's also a great way of learning. All of it here. I'm not an expert in video editing or any of this stuff. I just really like what I do. So I'm going to try my best to set the camera up in a place where you can see it. There's definitely some footage coming out in some of these projects where I've done stuff like this and kept working. Yeah. I put like the glue bottle right in front of the camera. That's happening. You'll see it in upcoming videos. The point is, I'm not going to try for perfection in these videos. There are so many great channels that I've learned from that have mastered the art of this. I'm not one of them. I appreciate every single one of them. It's just not me. I'd rather be doing the work, so I might just drop a camera direct pointed at the thing I'm doing, as opposed to figuring out what the best angle is, the best shot. So it might work, it might not. I don't know, you can tell me. I'm just one guy with an iPhone, an Insta360 Go 3 camera, and a laptop. And a bunch of tools and things. So I'm gonna do my best. Some of the projects that I've filmed for upcoming videos, I've even just forgotten to set up the camera completely. So I'm gonna do my best not to do that, but it happens. Sometimes I'm just focused. I hope that's okay. Again, you can let me know. Another thing to look forward to, I have a podcast. It still exists, even though I haven't posted an episode in a little bit. It's been a busy spring and summer. It's called Woodbeard Meets Makers. I started it because that's what everyone has a podcast now, right? Like you're supposed to. That's what I was told. No? In actuality, my reasons were twofold. Social anxiety. I have it. I have generalized anxiety disorder. It's super fun. But I wanted to push my boundaries this summer. That was a big focus of my summer, was to push outside my comfort zone, even just a little bit, just to see what it's like. And I thought talking to people I know and meeting new people, well, that's a good way to work on that. Number two, I just wanted to meet cool people making rad things and promote it to whoever might care about the things I do. So far, I've met some pretty amazing people who are doing incredible things. And I've had a chance to get to know the people that I already was familiar with a little better, which has just been awesome. I've talked to amazing people like my wife, Brian. I've talked to incredible visual artist, Laura Heaney. I've talked to incredible person, Crystal Overland. I've talked to rad human being, Adam Robert Martin. I've talked to legendary Julie Fazuli. I've talked to inspirational Alyssa Lancia. I've talked to unassailably cool Lacey Williamson. And it's just getting started. I've been on a bit of a hiatus, but I'm gonna ramp up to it. I need to take the time to ramp up my anxiety, just steel myself to do these things. But I am planning some more shows for the near future, so please keep an eye out for those. I also post the video here on the YouTube channel. And if you are a maker or a creator of any kind and you want to be on the show, please reach out to me. Head over to woodbeard.ca/podcast. Link is in the description. I can promise you it will be a fun, laid-back conversation with a socially awkward woodworker. What more could you ask for? Who doesn't want to do that? Again, link in the description if you're interested, or head over to woodbeard.ca/podcast and let me know that you'd be interested in being on the show. There's a little form thing that you can fill out to let me know. I would love to talk to you. Another thing to look forward to here on the channel. I did an art recently. Yeah, I was in my very first ever art show. I don't really consider myself an artist, but the opportunity came up in the summer and I thought, I'm gonna give this a shot. See if I can do it. Do you want a sneak peek? Yeah. Okay, here it is. It's already on my social media channel, so here it is. This is a Power Ranger. The great artists Laura Heaney and Jill Letton created a show called Easy Tiger, featuring 50 artists from here in Hamilton, Ontario. For some reason, I think it's nepotism, friendpotism. I'm friends with Laura, and so I think she asked my wife, because my wife's an amazing artist, and I think maybe she just felt bad leaving me out. So she was like, oh, you can do something too if you want. That's how I choose to see it. I was terrified, but I think that was the point. I'll explain all this in that video coming soon. I set out to do things that I had never done before. And it worked out pretty cool, if I do say so myself. If you know Power Rangers, then you'll get this. If you don't, that's cool too. But it was a whole new process, brand new way of doing things I've never done before, working with materials and technologies that I had never done before. So, video coming soon about this. Stay tuned for that. Also, as of filming, this is still available for purchase. So, if you're interested, check out my Instagram or drop me a comment here on the YouTube vid and let me know. So that catches us up to today. So as I mentioned, I had the whole month of August off and I did some really cool projects during that time. I filmed a lot of the process and I'm currently cobbling together all the videos that will be released over the next couple months. So I've got some client work videos coming up. I've got some reviews, maybe a shop walkthrough of my little basement here. I've played with lasers. I can show you that. There'll just be some random fun things that I learn or take on. But the main point is I'm gonna be more deliberate here. So you can look forward to that being more consistent in the very near future. So if you have any questions, comments, queries, concerns about me, about my products, about woodworking in general, about my t-shirt, about my beard, whatever, drop me a comment below. Let's have a chat. And I'm fairly certain this is the only time I'm ever going to say this. But if you could take a second and hit subscribe down below and click the like button and maybe leave me a comment, maybe share this. Maybe tell people about it when you're walking down the street. Just be like, hey, have you seen Woodbeard's channel yet? You should. Throw your phone in their face, make them subscribe. Be like, what's wrong with you? Are you not subscribed yet? What the hell? Okay, don't do all of those things, but if you could, like and subscribe and all that jazz, leave me a comment. I would be eternally grateful. In the meantime, if you want to check out my stuff, that sounds wrong. In the meantime, if you want to check out my work, go to I am Woodbeard on Instagram. Follow me. Let's be friends. Thanks so much for sticking around and watching this. I really appreciate you, and I hope to see you again soon. Did that look good? It was like a dramatic walk off. Did it look good? No? I thought it would look cool. You know, it's like bookend. I started the video with walk down, and then was it cool? I don't know. All right, enough.